Chapter 4 of Karnaparva, Shalya, the charioteer of Radheya. The 17th day of the great war dawned. Early in the morning, Duryodhana went to Shalya and said, I have come to you with a request. I now fall at your feet and ask you to grant it to me. I want you to do me a great favor. Today, Radheya is to meet Arjuna in the battle. He can easily win if he has a charioteer like Krishna. I ask you most humbly to be the charioteer to my dearest friend Radheya. There is no one else who is good enough to hold the reins of Radheya's horses. You are the one person who can do it. You must see me through this crisis. Radheya is far superior to Arjuna, but because of this handicap, he is not able to kill him. Look at my army now. It was so huge and it has now dwindled down in size like a river during summer months. I had so many great heroes fighting for me. Most of them are dead. They died so that I may live. I do not know how I will escape the sin of killing so many of them. But all that is not a thing to worry us now. In this army, only a few are left. You are the greatest of them all. You are the one person who can help me to win the war. Radheya is sure to kill Arjuna with you as his charioteer. You are as much interested in my welfare as Radheya is. You must help me. Radheya is invincible even by the gods. Why then should I worry about this mortal man, Arjuna? Please agree to my proposal. Shalya was wild with Duryodhana. He said, Duryodhana, you are insulting me. You have no right to ask this of me. In your affection for Radheya, you are praising him too much. You are making him out to be a greater than he really is. Your loving eyes are magnifying his greatness. You are trying to make me a Kshatriya do the work of a Sutaputra to a Sutaputra. What has come over you, Duryodhana? Are you not trying to make me do the impossible? Sutas are just attendants at the court of a king. They are meant to hold the whip in their hands and drive the chariots of kings. I am a great king. I have been given the coronation bath. I wear a crown. I am a Maharatika. I have fought in many great battles and I have never been vanquished. Now you ask me to do menial service to an inferior, to a Sutaputra? How can a Kshatriya who is an anointed king be a charioteer to a low-born man? You talk as though Radheya is superior to me. He is not equal to me. I can kill that man easily. You are trying to do this to me deliberately. Look at this bow of mine and look at these arrows. Look at my chariot and my beautiful horses. I can fight with Indra and defeat him in a single combat. You have today insulted a great warrior. I can fight with Radheya and Arjuna and Krishna all together and win. I am not pleased with you and your words. You have insulted me. I will go back to my kingdom. You do not deserve the affection I had for you. Shalya tried to walk out of the assembly. Duryodhana waylaid him and stood in front of him with folded palms and with tears in his eyes. He said, My lord, it is not right that you should be angry with me. I have not tried to insult you, nor have I tried to make out that Radheya is better than you. I know all about you and your greatness. In a single fight, Radheya will not be able to bear your fury. I know that you have been given the name Shalya, since you are like a sharp arrow lodged in the heart of your enemy. I am trying to tell you the real reason for this request of mine. I know that Radheya is superior to Arjuna, but he must also have a charioteer who is superior to the charioteer of Arjuna. In this entire world, you are the one person who is far superior to Krishna. Hence, I am asking you to hold the reins of Radheya's horses, as Brahma did for Shankara when he killed the Tripuras. Actually, my lord, you are twice as good as Krishna. You must do this for me and Radheya. Shalya heard the words of Duryodhana. He said, Duryodhana, you have today said in the midst of all these heroes that I am superior to Krishna. I am pleased with your remark. I will become the charioteer of Radheya, since you consider me to be the only person to do so. I will do it. I promise to you in the presence of all these people that I will drive the chariot of Radheya. Duryodhana fell at his feet in gratitude and went to his dear Radheya to tell him about the good fortune that had befallen them. Duryodhana came back to Shalya and said, I want to tell you something else. The great Bhargava obtained all the divine astras he had from Lord Shankara. The Lord had told him that the astras were not to be given to any low-born man. Bhargava agreed. He had Radheya as his disciple. He had given all the astras and his own bow called Vijaya to Radheya. He is a great man, my lord. He has the gift of inner sight. He must be knowing that Radheya is not a low-born Suta. Radheya must have deserved his gifts, or else he would not have given them to him. For a long time I have felt that Radheya is not a Sutaputra. He is the son of a high-born Kshatriya woman. He is the adopted son of Atirata. I have no doubt about his being the son of some god. He has got to be a Kshatriya. He has been abandoned by his mother at birth, perhaps because of some indiscretion. This hero, glowing like the sun, cannot be a Sutaputra. No deer can give birth to a leopard cub. Have you noticed his wide shoulders and his long beautiful arms? They cannot belong to a Sutaputra who drives a cart. I know that he is a Kshatriya born to some high-born woman and a god. His birth has the cloak of obscurity thrown over it, but his caste shines forth like the sun through the darkest cloud. Someday this riddle will be solved and I will be the person to show the world that he is a Kshatriya. Radheya is born to rule the world. You have got to see it. It is so obvious. My guess cannot be wrong. I know the greatness of Radheya. Else, how can he be superior to Arjuna, the great archer? There is nothing shameful in being his charioteer. He is a Kshatriya. Shalya embraced Duryodhana and said, I am very fond of you and I will please you as best as I can. But I have something to say. I may use sharp words in my love for you. I may be sharp with Radheya. You and Radheya must not mind the sharpness of my tongue. I hate 4 qualities in man: insulting oneself because of inferiority complex, praising one's qualities, decrying others, bravado. If I find any of these in Radheya, I will censure him. He must not mind it. Radheya came in just in time to hear this. He said with a smiling face, I am gratefully honored by your kindness. I am proud to feel that the great Shalya is to be my charioteer. I thank you most humbly for this favor. Shalya was very pleased by the humble words of Radheya. Shalya went and prepared the great chariot of Radheya. He brought it to the presence of Radheya. The chariot was Radheya's most precious possession. He made a pradakshina to it and saluted it. He saluted the sun, his father. He made Shalya enter the chariot first and followed him into it. It was a splendid sight. Radheya and Shalya were glowing like the sun and fire. They advanced towards the army of the Pandavas. He looked like the sun in his chariot driven by the glowing Aruna. Duryodhana was there. He spoke parting words to Radheya. He said, what was not possible for Bhishma and Drona will today be achieved by you, Radheya. I know that today is the most wonderful day in your life and mine. Go, my friend, and come back covered with eternal glory. Radheya said, I will certainly try my best. I am taking leave of you. Remember that Radheya, your Radheya, spared no pains for your success. The rest is in the hands of fate. You must always remember that, Duryodhana. The friends parted with just a wring of the hands. Radheya was moving away from Duryodhana. He had begun his last journey. The tears in his eyes showed that he was conscious of it, that it was his last journey and that it was the last meeting with his friend Duryodhana. Shri Krishna Arpanamast. Chapter 5 of Karnaparva. Yudhishthira hurt by Radheya. Radheya said, Shalya, take me to the presence of the Pandavas. I am going to defeat all of them. I am sure to kill Arjuna and win the war. Shalya remembered his promise to Yudhishthira. He had to damp the enthusiasm of Radheya as much as he could. He spoke words in praise of Arjuna and the Pandavas. He said, "Why do you have such a high ambition? How dare you insult the greatness of the Pandavas? You will talk this until you hear the twang of the Gandiva. You will talk like this until you see Bhima destroying the elephant army. You will talk like this until you see Yudhishthira and his brothers with their sharp and stinging arrows. Then you will talk no more. I know the power of the Pandavas. You do not." Radheya said, "I do not want to displease you by contradicting you. Let us proceed, my lord." The chariot was well on its way. Radheya was well versed in the art of reading meanings in the omens, and he saw that he was seeing omens unfavorable to him. He knew that nothing boded a pleasure future for him. He was past like caring. With a disdainful shrug of his shoulders, he went on. His smile was tinged with bitterness. All the way to the front, Shalya continued his praise of the Pandavas. He praised Arjuna and he decried Radheya. It was wounding to Radheya. He said, "Your name fits you. Your words are terrible. They go right into my heart and hurt. They hurt abominably. I do not know why you are doing this to me, but I do not care. I will do my duty today. I know that there is such a thing as fate which watches over the lives of men. It is awake when all the world is asleep. It works in a strange manner. When I saw that Drona was killed and when I saw Bhishma fall, I knew that man is powerless in the hands of fate. But the future of man is to a certain extent in his own hands. If death on the field is the ultimate fate of a man, still he can make a name for himself by fighting as well as he can. He can die in such a manner that he can make up for the wrongs of fate. I know that I have no chance against Arjuna. I have known it for the last so many years. I will fight for my king who has given me his heart, and I will please him by giving up my life for him. Please help me to perform this sacrifice for him. I am already a doomed man. Do not hurt the last few hours of my life with your words in praise of Arjuna. If your idea is to damp my enthusiasm, you are doing an excellent job of it. You have succeeded in your plan. Please do not speak any more." Shalya was silent after this. The army was arrayed wonderfully by Radheya. Yudhishthira and Arjuna arranged their army in a counter-vyuha. Yudhishthira said, "Arjuna, you must meet Radheya today. Bhima will kill Duryodhana. Let us all meet them individually. Nakula will fight with the sons of Radheya. Sahadeva with Shakuni. Sathanika will meet Dushasana and Satyaki will meet his cousin Kritavarma. Drishtadyumna can take Ashwatthama and I will fight with Kripa." The fight began in a few moments. The remnants of the Trigarta army rushed against Arjuna. As was his custom, Arjuna advanced single-handed. He had never taken an army with him. He had defeated the great Kalakeyas and the Nivata Kavachas single-handed. He was able to work wonders all by himself. The noise made by the army was deafening. The clash of sword against sword, the whiz of the incessant arrows, the clash of mace against mace, the shrieks of horses and elephants as they fell down wounded, the beating of the war drums and the blaring of the trumpets, all these together made the battlefield a veritable home of noises. Radheya was determined to fight his best today and die on the battlefield. He was like Bhishma on the 9th day of the war. He killed each and every one of those who came within the range of his arrows. The arrows were just singing past all the time. It was not possible for anyone to meet him. Many of the Panchala heroes were killed even at the beginning of the battle. Radheya's chariot wheels were protected by his sons. Sushena and Satyasena were near the wheels and Vrishasena was protecting his father from behind. It was a formidable team. The Pandava host was trying its best to fight with Radheya. Drishtadyumna, Satyaki, the sons of Draupadi, Bhima, Shikhandi, Nakula, and Sahadeva were all stationed against the chariot of Radheya. Not one of them could stop the progress of his chariot. Bhima was able to kill Satyasena, the son of Radheya. The other two were wounded, but Vrishasena came back in another chariot and continued to guard the chariot of his father from behind. The Pandava army was melting like snow at the touch of the sun. All the warriors were defeated. They had to abandon the presence of Radheya, who was as terrible as the god of death. Yudhishthira advanced towards the chariot of Radheya. He was bent on fighting a duel with him. With his eyes red with anger, the noble Yudhishthira said, "Listen to me, you low-born man. You are a Sutaputra, and for the last so many years you have been trying to vie with my Arjuna. You have sworn to kill him. You have been fond of the king Duryodhana, who is a low man, though born of a high and noble family. Let me see your prowess. I want to see this valor of yours, depending on which my cousin has begun this war. Come, fight with me and show me how powerful you are. I will save Arjuna the bother of killing you." Radheya smiled and said, "So be it." He looked at Yudhishthira for a long time. He roused himself from the reverie and said, "Yudhishthira, you are a great man. You are a great fighter too. I am happy to greet you as one hero does another. I am happy to have been given a chance to meet you and spend some time with you. You may not believe it, but I am pleased to be with you for a while." He smiled his sweetest smile and began to fight with Yudhishthira. It was a great duel. Radheya was hurt in the beginning by the arrows of his brother. He sat down on the terrace of his chariot, unable to bear the pain. He fainted away. He roused himself and continued to fight. Satyaki and the others came to help Yudhishthira, but Radheya was unmoved. He routed all of them and was left fighting with Yudhishthira. Again there was a repetition of the technique of Radheya. Yudhishthira's bow was broken. With a smile, Radheya broke open the glowing armor of Yudhishthira, who now stood without his bow and without his armor. His body was covered by his blood. Radheya could not bear to see the blood of his younger brother. He hated himself for it. But it had to be done. The smile was still on his lips. He saw a javelin thrown by Yudhishthira. With a low laugh, he broke it into two. 4 more of them were broken too. Yudhishthira's banner was on the ground. Radheya had reduced him to the state of a helpless man who could be killed at a moment's notice. Yudhishthira glared with helpless fury at Radheya. Radheya laughed at him and his discomfiture. He touched Yudhishthira with the tip of his bow and said, "Yudhishthira, you are born in a great family. You are the eldest Pandava. You are a Kshatriya, and my poor self is just a Sutaputra, as you aptly put it. You, a Kshatriya, are supposed to be good at killing your enemies. But, my lord, your honored self is not fitted for the role you have taken up. You are a Brahmin by temperament. You are wrong as a Kshatriya. Please do not attempt to fight with those who are your superiors. Do not challenge anyone unless you are sure of defeating him. Go back to your home, my dear Yudhishthira, or go where your brother Arjuna is fighting. You can never kill Radheya in a single combat." Radheya turned away from Yudhishthira and left his presence. As if to punish himself, he began to attack the army with renewed vigor. Bhima and the others tried to defend the army from the fury of Radheya. They could not. Radheya went to another part of the field. Bhima followed him there. He was wild with anger against Radheya. He had hurled such insults at Yudhishthira. Looking at Bhima, who was advancing, Shalya said, "Radheya, look at Bhima. He is angry with you. His face has never been so angry before. I have seen him after the death of Abhimanyu and that of his son Ghatotkacha. Even then he was not as angry as he is now. Today he looks like the god of death. I wonder why." Radheya said, "You are right. Bhima is angry. He is angry for his brother whom I have insulted just now. Do you not know that to the Pandavas the eldest brother is a god? The eldest Pandava can command the love and devotion of all the other Pandavas. They are prepared to die for him. I will fight with Bhima." Bhima advanced towards Radheya. They fought for a long time. In his fury, Bhima was able to make Radheya faint. He wanted to cut the tongue of Radheya for the words he spoke to his brother. Shalya was displeased with Bhima. He said, Bhima, do not be rash. Stop this. This is a wrong thing you are trying to do. Your brother was insulted by Radheya and you have therefore fought with him and you have defeated him. That is enough. You can go back from here. As for killing him, it is Arjuna's work. He has sworn that he will kill Radheya, and it is he who must try and see if he can keep his promise. You can go away from here. Bhima thought that the words of Shalya were true. He left the presence of Radheya and went away. After recovering from his faint, Radheya wanted to fight again with Bhima. The king saw what he wanted to do and sent some of the brothers to help Radheya. Bhima gave all his attention to them first. He killed so many of them. He had now lost count of the number of his victims. Radheya and the others advanced towards Bhima, and the other heroes on the side of the Pandavas joined Bhima. The fight became general once again. The Trigartas had always been causing a lot of trouble to Arjuna throughout the war. Whenever he wanted to fight with someone important, the Samasaptakas would challenge him and harass him for hours together. It was the same today. Arjuna could not move away from them without destroying most of their army. He would kill some of them and the next day some more of them would spring up from nowhere and challenge him. He had today been greatly harassed by Susharma, who was one of the few who had not been killed yet. He was good at using the divine astras, and Arjuna had to fight for a long time with the Trigartas, and he destroyed more than half their army. He looked in other directions. He saw Radheya. Arjuna had been watching him. He saw that Radheya had now fought with each of one of the heroes on their side and had defeated each one of them. He mentally applauded the prowess of Radheya. He spoke to Krishna about it. He wanted to be taken to the presence of Radheya. Ashwatthama came to the presence of Arjuna. He wanted to fight a duel with Arjuna. Arjuna had to agree. They began their duel. In a short time, Ashwatthama covered the chariot of Arjuna with his arrows. Nothing could be seen of Arjuna or his chariot or the charioteer. Krishna was very angry with Arjuna. He said, "Still you have not got over your affection for your guru or his son? All that I have taught you so far has been just wasted. The foolish love you have for these two men is more than all my words. Your hands lose their quickness. Your fingers become numb when you see these men. Your Gandiva is asked to take some rest evidently, and you like to be harassed by Ashwatthama. I am displeased with you and your soft fighting at the wrong time. You have always been like this when your opponent is one of these. You forget your duty at the critical moment." Arjuna could not bear the taunting words of Krishna. He fought with real anger. He removed the cloak of arrows which had covered them both. He fought furiously. He used several divine astras and was able to defeat Ashwatthama. The horses of Ashwatthama bolted, carrying him away from the battlefield. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Chapter 6 of Karnaparva, in Yudhishthira's tent. Arjuna turned his attention to the other heroes on the side of Duryodhana. The king of Magadha and his brother were the next to fight with him. They were Dandadhara and Danda. He killed them both. He fought with the Samasaptakas once again. Krishna asked Arjuna to hurry towards the chariot of Radheya. He had to be killed that day. Arjuna was in time to watch a fight between Ashwatthama and the king of the Pandyas. The Pandya king was very proud of his prowess. He did not like to be compared to anyone since he thought himself to be far superior to all of the others. He was. He fought with Ashwatthama and was killed by him. It was a great loss to the Pandavas. Arjuna saw that a great portion of his army had been destroyed by Radheya. Ashwatthama was trying to kill his dear enemy Drishtadyumna in a duel. Arjuna joined in the general fight, and he was like a new lease of life for the depressed fighters. The enemy army was routed, and the Pandavas advanced further towards the army of Duryodhana. Krishna saw the chariot of Radheya moving about the field as fast as the wind. Radheya was dancing on the field. So graceful was his progress. Krishna watched him and said, "It is a pleasure to watch Radheya. Look at the graceful manner in which he draws the bow and shoots the arrow. His chest is indeed broad and beautiful. Look at the battlefield. It is strewn with the bodies of soldiers, and every one of them is wearing an arrow marked Radheya. It is time you and he met. He has come to the end of his days on the earth. This great man has to die at your hands. Arjuna, let us hurry. Let us try and meet him as soon as you can." The several duels that were fought were all indefinite in their results. In some cases, the Pandavas were fortunate, and in other, the Kauravas. Radheya and Yudhishthira met again in single combat. Radheya was able to defeat him and wound him. It was so terrible that Yudhishthira could not even stand up. He went to his tent and lay down on his bed, unable to stand the pain caused by the arrows of Radheya. He had been hurt by his words already. Yudhishthira was very depressed. Every day he was getting more and more dissatisfied with the way things were progressing. He did not want this war at all, but now that the war was being fought, he did not like this drawn-out agony. He wished that Arjuna would fight more intensely than he was doing so far. No, he was not pleased with the way Arjuna was fighting. Arjuna had said that he would kill all the enemies single-handed. He had done nothing about it so far. He was killing the ordinary soldiers as his grandfather was doing. But he had done nothing about the killing of Radheya, who was the main source of danger. He was allowing Radheya to dance about the field and was doing nothing about keeping up his oath that he would kill Radheya. Radheya had today said that Yudhishthira was fit to be a Brahmin and not a Kshatriya. But Yudhishthira was feeling that the description fitted Arjuna better now. He was so soft in his fighting that it looked as though he did not want to fight at all. Only Bhima was hearty about the whole thing. Nakula and Sahadeva were doing their best. But it came to this. The army on either side was dwindling. Nothing was being done about the killing of the main actors. Drishtadyumna was the one person who had stuck to his oath, and Arjuna was angry with him for that. Thoughts like these were crowding in the mind of Yudhishthira. Arjuna was proceeding towards Radheya, who was becoming a terror to his army. Arjuna missed Yudhishthira there. He heard from Bhima that he had gone to his tent because of the wounds inflicted by Radheya. At once, Arjuna said, "Krishna, I must see my brother at once. After I have comforted him, I will come and kill Radheya." He asked Bhima to stay and ward off the enemy attack and went to the tent where Yudhishthira was resting. Krishna and Arjuna entered the tent. They saw Yudhishthira there alone and in the depths of depression. He saw Krishna and Arjuna come towards him. He got up from his bed and welcomed them. When he saw them coming to him in the middle of the fight, Yudhishthira thought that Radheya had been killed and that they had come to give him the happy news. He said, "After all, he has been killed. Radheya has been haunting my sleep for the last so many years. He has been killed and I am happy. I am so happy. Tell him, Arjuna, how did you fight with him? How did his death happen and with what astra did you kill him? Tell me everything in detail." Arjuna said, "My lord, I have not been able to meet him yet. I have been prevented by several of the Kaurava heroes from this encounter with Radheya. Having defeated the terrible Samasaptakas, I was going towards Radheya. Bhima was holding the brothers of the king at bay, and I did not see you there. I was told that you have been wounded and that you are resting. I became concerned about you and your welfare. So here I am. I am going now to kill Radheya. Please bless me and send me." Yudhishthira was greatly disappointed at the news that Radheya was still alive. He lost his temper. He swore at Arjuna. He used very harsh words. He insulted Arjuna by saying, "Give me the Gandiva, which is just an ornament in your hand. I will go and kill Radheya." Arjuna was furious. Krishna intervened and said, Arjuna, can you not see that Yudhishthira has been wounded by Radheya and the suffering has made him impatient? He wants to rouse you into action. That is the reason why he is so harsh in his language. Yudhishthira had now cooled down and he spoke gently to Arjuna. He embraced Arjuna and Krishna and said, I send you forth with my blessings. I know that you will come back victorious. There was hope in his voice. He felt that the death of Radheya was imminent. Krishna and Arjuna had their horses refreshed and set out again to the front. The two were talking together as they proceeded. Krishna said, Arjuna, you have sworn that you will kill Radheya. You can do it. But remember, he is not an easy opponent. He is the greatest archer on this earth. Even as you did during the days of the Rajasuya of Yudhishthira, Radheya has also defeated all the kings of Bharatavarsha. He has defeated the king of Kashi single-handed when he won a bride for the king. He has defeated Jarasandha, whom I could not face. Radheya is your equal. In fact, he is your better. He is glowing like Agni. He is like Vayu in his speed. He is like Indra in his anger. This handsome Radheya is a very proud and sensitive man. He is the most powerful person on the side of Duryodhana. He is devoted to Duryodhana. Radheya is a good man. He has performed innumerable good actions and is famed as the greatest giver in this world. Arjuna, you will have the good fortune of killing the great Radheya. Arjuna said, Krishna, I have you with me. You are leading me to victory. All I have to do is to listen to you. I will kill Radheya with your blessings. They went towards the Kaurava army and joined in the general fight. Bhima had been busy with the destruction of the army. Everyone fled at his coming. He was like the wild north wind when it sweeps across the earth in fury. He was terrible. He wanted to kill as many of the brothers of Duryodhana as he possibly could. He looked for them in that army as a gleaner looks for stray grains of corn in a field which had been mowed down by a sickle. He was carrying on the field, uttering shouts like a hungry lion. He heard the twang of the Gandiva in the midst of his celebration. He knew that Yudhishthira was well. Now the two of them, Arjuna and himself, could work havoc in the army. Nakula was there and Sahadeva. He enjoyed the company of Arjuna while fighting. Arjuna was coming straight towards Bhima. He had been worried about him since he had been caught in the thick of the enemy army when he last saw him. Duryodhana sent Shakuni to fight with Bhima. He was sent back defeated. Radheya came to the rescue of his army. At a touch, the entire face of the friend changed. No one could fight Radheya. Today he was like the burning of 1,000 torches at the same time. He was like someone divine. Bhima and the rest of them were not able to bear his arrows tipped with liquid fire. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.